The views and opinions expressed in this podcast represent the official stance of Partners for Affordable and Reliable Energy or PARE and are intended to provide educational and informational insights on energy-related topics. While we strive for accuracy, transparency, and fairness, viewers are encouraged to further research and engage in discussions to enhance their understanding. Viewer discretion is advised.
We were paying blindly. Hindi natin alam kung ano yung binabayaran natin, pero nagbabayad pa rin tayo kasi wala naman tayong choice, wala naman tayong kuryente. Pag hindi tayo nagbayad, puputulan agad tayo.
Alam mo, Nick, ang masakit lang na nakakahiya as far as ERC is concerned. In all these public proceedings, magkatabi yung Meralco at ERC in the panel. Meralco shrugs its shoulders and say, we're just implementing what ERC has approved. You don't even hear a pip squeak from the ERC. Walang kasali-salita.
Welcome. This is Power Talks by PARE, or Partners for Affordable and Reliable Energy. This is a podcast dedicated to tackling key issues in the Philippine energy sector, focusing on affordable and reliable electricity for all. It features expert insights, exposes industry abuses, and explores policy solutions to high power rates and unreliable service. With consumer empowerment at its core, Power Talks is the go-to platform for fact-based solution-driven discussions on making energy accessible and fair for every Filipino. Today, our guest is Sir Butch Hunya. He is a veteran consumer rights advocate and energy sector watchdog. He is known for his relentless fight against Meralco's alleged overpricing and anti-consumer practices. As an energy advocate and representative of consumer groups, he has been a vocal critic of unjust electricity rates, hidden charges, and regulatory loopholes that favor big power players over ordinary Filipino. Sir Butch Hunya has actively filed cases against Meralco before the Energy Regulatory Commission or ERC, challenging unfair rate adjustment and market manipulation. His research and investigative findings have been submitted to the Congress and Senate, where he has called for stronger consumer protection policies, a review of Meralco franchise, and reforms in the IPIRA or the Electric Power Industry Reform Act. Now, let us hear more on Sir Butch. And Butch, thank you very much for joining us in our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Nick. It's actually my honor to be here with you and to be able to share with your followers some of my thoughts. And by the way, thank you for summarizing the past 20 years of my life in the intro sketch that you just did.
Yes, and welcome to Power Talks by Pare. And sir, can you explain further, kakatapos lang sir nung Senate hearing, no, yung review para dun sa Meralco. Pero you've been very vocal, nabanggit niyo sa akin na there are a lot of Meralco's misleading narratives. Can you explain, na nabanggit niyo kasi sa akin before through our initial conversation, that these are deceptions that Meralco have been using?
Well, that's a great question, but it's going to need a grand answer to be able to cover all of that. Para natin ma-cover lahat ng mga items na yon, it will take us probably one regulatory period, which, as you know, is 4 years as far as Meralco is concerned. But we have to start somewhere, and we have to go bit by bit. So if you go through the Meralco bill, and I don't think you're in the Meralco franchise area. I think you're better off up there far north, no? Pag tinignan natin yung Meralco bill, halos line by line, marami tayong makikita dyan na mga leakages and distortions in the rates that are being charged to us.
So can you give more examples, sir? Ano pa yung itong mga sinasabi niyo ng mga hidden charges or anong nagpapalaki doon sa ating electric bill?
Diyan sa ating electric bill, Nick, ang major components niyan are generation, which is sometimes about 55% of total
Yes.
cost. And then the next is distribution, which is actually the Meralco rate as far as we are concerned. And then there's transmission, there's taxes, there's subsidies, there's system loss, and the other tariffs that are put in. Um, as far as Meralco is concerned, ang core revenue path niya is coming from the distribution, supply, and metering charge, the DSM charge. In the case of Meralco, it's roughly about 17% or 19% of the total electricity bill. Ngayon, pag ang pag-uusapan natin, Nick, yung DSM or Distribution, Supply, and Metering Charge, pupunta tayo doon sa rate setting methodology na pinatutupad ngayon ng Energy Regulatory Commission, which is performance-based regulation. And that by itself is a whole basket of issues where there are so many rate leakages and rate overcharges that we need to go into.
Yes, oo. So, because of this, yung sa rate reset, so hindi, for how many years yun, sir, no? How many years na wala tayong rate reset? It was 7?
No, the last rate reset that we had was in 2011. And
2011, yeah.
we are now 2025. We are still attempting to undertake and complete a proper rate reset. In fact, if you look at the history of rate reset from 2015 or 2014, when the reset for the fourth regulatory period should have been done, the ERC under different chairmen have gone through several somersaults and several backtracks and false moves forward in doing the rate reset, but none of those commissions have completed a proper and a proper and legal rate reset. In fact,
Mhm.
mayroon ngayong nakabinbin, Nick, na application ng Meralco for a so-called new fifth regulatory period. But this new fifth regulatory period is just a reiteration of an aborted fifth regulatory period, which by itself bypassed the fourth regulatory period. So if you get confused about all those periods overlapping each other, it's understandable because ERC seems to be lost in the desert as far as the rate reset process is concerned. And mind you, Nick, the rate reset is the key phase or the key process under PBR that protects consumers from price gouging and from excessive rates of the utilities. Because in the PBR process, it is only in the rate reset where the consumers can question directly the rates and charges that are being charged to us under PBR. In the other aspects of the rate process, like for instance, the rate translation, the rates that have been set in the rate reset can no longer be questioned. Now,
Yes.
considering that the last rate reset was done in 2011, can you imagine the distortions in the rates that have been carried forward from 2011 to 2025? That's about the extent of the rate distortion that we suffer as of right now.
Yeah. And you've mentioned Meralco also has filed for a rate reset covering this 2026 to 2029,
Well,
adjusting its annual revenue requirement or yung ARR, sir?
that's one of the wild cards that Meralco has
Yeah.
been playing as far as the rates is concerned, because the so-called lapse period is an invention, a contrivance of the ERC for them to be able to bypass the fourth regulatory period, which was mandatory under the PBR process. Kasi Nick, if you can allow me to go back a little bit,
Yes.
PBR came about as a substitute for return on rate base. And
Mhm.
the return on rate base, which was the prevailing rate setting methodology until about 2007 or 2006. Under return on rate base, the utility invested on the equipment bankrolled or underwrote the cost of operation, and then after a period they go to the regulator and say, Mr. Regulator, this is what I have spent, this is what I have invested, this is how I will recover it, and it is by this rate, kindly approve that rate. In other words, they invested, they spent, then they recovered. Under PBR, they changed the methodology. Under PBR now, utility goes to the regulator and says, Mr. Regulator, this is my estimate of my projected expenses to provide the service for the next 4 years. This is my forecast of the sales that I will make over the next 4 years. Cost divided by forecast, that is going to be the rate that I will pay. That's, of course, a generalized and simplified way of explaining it. But the major difference is the one is based on other one is based on historical cost and actual expenses already incurred. The other is based on forecast and projections. So
Yes.
in the process of conceding a forecast and projection over a 4-year period, sabi ng regulator, or sabi natin as consumers, paano naman
Consumers.
ang protection namin? So in
Mhm.
the PBR cycle, nag-uumpisa with a going-in rate, which is a cost-based rate for the initial period, and then in the succeeding periods, the succeeding 4 years, the utility now will have to file for a rate reset where they will do a process similar to the going-in rate and submit all their costs for our evaluation and review for the next 4 years. Ang nangyari, because of the inefficiency and the incompetence of the Energy Regulatory Commission to undertake the rate reset, since 2011, hindi na tayo nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na tanungin ang Meralco kung ano ba ang specifics doon sa mga charges nila. I'll give you an example, Nick. No? In 2011, when they approved the annual revenue requirement of Meralco, which was the basis for the 4-year period from regulatory year 2012 to 2015, one of the operating expense items was advertising. The
Mhm.
advertising cost granted to Meralco at that time was about 1.7 billion pesos. Okay? At that time that it was under deliberation, we did not know any better. We didn't even know what questions to ask or how to go about it. But comparatively, the next highest advertising cost granted to another utility, I think in this case, Sepalco, Cagayan Electric Power and Light Company, was 217 million pesos. So imagine the difference between the 1.7 billion that was allowed to Meralco in our case and the 217 million pesos that was allowed to Sepalco's customers. The question that we were going to ask in the rate reset, if it were conducted, is anong klaseng advertising ang pinut out nyo, anong mga binayaran yung talent fees, saan nyo nilagay na media, ano ang kabuluhan naging expense ng 1.7 billion na yan. Because under the Supreme Court decision, which defined the limits of what a utility can charge us, sabi ng Supreme Court, for a cost to be chargeable to us, it should be prudent, reasonable, necessary, recurring, and redounding to our benefit. So every cost item of the 1.7 billion peso that was allowed to Meralco for the third regulatory period should pass that criteria. And if it does not pass that, it should be refunded. You remember recently, NGCP was disallowed the 200 billion peso claim for expenses until they are able to prove it as valid based on the criteria for recoverable cost. That is the key process that we are missing in ARC not doing a proper and complete rate reset.
So, parang no, sir, ang nangyari dito is nagbayad tayo pero hindi natin alam kung saan pumunta yung binayaran natin.
Oh,
So, with that,
oo
tama ba,
nga.
sir?
Tama
Oo.
yun. And in fact, even at the outset, we were willing to concede that point. Sabi natin, sige, for the efficient service or for the good of
Mhm.
the utility, payag na tayo na may 4 years. Pero bakit naman hindi tayo bibigyan ng pagkakataon after 4 years na busisiin yan? I can tell you, Nick, even in the lapsed period, the so-called lapsed period, which ERC has contrived to be able to bypass the fourth regulatory period, one of the key questions that I asked was for the production of records, documents, and data on all the expenses that Meralco charged to us. After the
Yeah.
fact na lang yun. Sasabihin natin, papasabayan sa criteria. Pag hindi pumasa sa criteria, balik nyo sa amin. Pag pumasa,
Mhm.
then well and good, it's a proper expense. We never were able to get to that point of the process because ERC, by its sheer incompetence, I'm almost tempted to say regulatory capture, did not do the mandatory rate reset, which they themselves set in their own rules.
Yeah.
So if we gonna see it, so it's all the fault of the ERC and the accountability kasi sinasabi nga ni Meralco na we were always compliant. Kung anong sasabihin ni ERC, we are always compliant. So apparently, it's ERC's inefficiency and that was the reason for the failure of the rate reset since 2011.
Alam
No?
alam mo Nick, I can say with some level of confidence now na ERC is really shameless, walang hiya. Alam mo, I was there in the December 5 technical working group meeting of the Senate on the renewal of the Meralco franchise presided by Senator Villanueva.
Mhm.
In that hearing, kasi Nick, ang nakalagay sa Meralco franchise, Meralco is supposed to supply us electricity in the least cost manner.
The
So,
list cost man.
my basic position on the renewal of a franchise, which by the way does not expire until 2028, busisiin muna natin ang charges ng Meralco kung compliant with least cost. If it is not compliant with least cost, it should not be renewed. So, no, when I raised that point to the technical working group, baling si Villanueva, Senator Villanueva sa Meralco. Meralco, what is your response? Exactly what you said a while ago. We just followed the ERC rule. Our rates are approved by ERC. So
Yes.
I immediately retorted back and said, hey, ERC is inefficient. It's not doing its job. It did not do the rate reset, in which case we would have known, we would have found out what were the overcharges. But in fact, without even going into that, Nick, the fact alone that Meralco voluntarily applied for a refund of 13 billion pesos is already an indication that they were charging more than they should have. Kasi paano ka magre-refund kung hindi ka nag-overcharge? So,
Exactly.
to me, that was proof evident of the overcharging of Meralco. And that would have been a trigger for the Senate to look closely on Meralco's compliance with the least cost supply. But as you know, after the fact, Villanueva sponsored it on the floor. Okay, so anyway, ang significance ng process is even underscored by that Meralco application. You remember, Nick, Meralco volunteered to refund 13 point something billion
Yes.
to us, to Meralco customers. Eventually, the decision of the Supreme Court, I'm sorry, the Energy Regulatory Commission in that case, amounted to a refund of 40 billion. No contest ang Meralco. Sabi niya, o sige, nagbayad na sila ng 40 billion. But can you imagine the jump from 13 billion to 40 billion? And in that case, Nick, ERC did not grant my motion for production of documents, records, and data that would have substantiated and verified whether Meralco's expenses from 2011 to 2022 and now up to 2026, which is the coverage of the so-called lapsed period, if Meralco's expenses claimed at that time meet the criteria of the Supreme Court, which says every expense must be prudent, reasonable, necessary, recurring, redounding to our benefit, and least cost as added by the Supreme Court and the
Yeah.
Meralco franchise. Without those records and without those data, how are we going to validate and verify whether they meet the criteria? Unfortunately, ERC did not rule on my motion for production of documents.
Wow, that's so sad. So parang ang nangyayari ngayon is kung ano ang sasabihin ni Meralco na hindi, this is what we paid for, this is what we invested. no? And then parang tatanggapin na lang natin, no? Without any sufficient evidence, without any sufficient records, receipts or whatsoever. No, it's just like whatever they say, we just accept it, and we can't really fight
That
against it kasi ERC, who should be the ones protecting consumers, are not doing their jobs kasi hindi dapat tayong humihingi nun. Dapat sila ang humihingi nung mga records, di ba? So,
alam mo Nick, ang ERC ngayon as it is a divided ERC. It's a 3-2 divide, and right now I think it's a 3-1 divide. But as far as the lapsed period is concerned, which as I said earlier was the run around that ERC did for the third regulatory period under the chairmanship of the previous chairman Agnes Divanadera, the vote was 4-1 in favor of the so-called lapsed period.
we are really having a hard time because aside from Meralco having all their lawyers and finding loopholes in the law, even ERC, who should be the protectors of consumers, who should be the regulators, are not actually favoring consumers. So instead sana na
Yeah.
sila yung kakampi natin, ang nangyayari is mas kakampi pa nila ang mga companies. We do understand that in the energy sector, this is a business. And for us consumers, we are very much willing to pay. Pero sa atin naman, ang babayaran lang natin yung tama lang naman na ginamit natin. So, katulad nun, if we are paying for things that was written by Meralco, yet we do not have any records, we do not have any accounting for that matter, then it means that we have been duped. No?
Alam mo,
Naloko tayo.
I mean,
Imagine, since 2011, no, Butch?
yeah, Nick, very you hit the nail on the head when saying we're being duped, because talagang we're being duped since that time. The lapsed period now na ipinangangalandakan ng Meralco na yun ang kanilang tulay from the failure in 2014 to do a rate reset to their new application now for a fifth regulatory period rate reset, that is anomalous at the outset. Ang ginawa ng Meralco dyan, dumampot sila ng rule sa existing rules for distribution, setting distribution willing rates at that time, RDWR, a rule that is applicable to a 1-year period, not an extended period. Ang tinatawag nila na awat, yung actual weighted average tariff true up, kasi sa PBR, 4 years ang takbo ng period niya. At the start ng 4 year, mayroon siyang isiset na maximum average price. Pag roll niya on the succeeding years, magkakaroon ng variations yan because forecast ang cost, forecast ang sales, estimated ang cost, there will be variances. To take
Yes.
care of the variances, the PBR scheme provided for the awat. Every year, at the end of the first year, ang actual tariff na na-receive, ito true up nila adjusted to the actual sales and actual costs para hindi maging nag-o-overcharge yung utility. Yun ang purpose noon. Ngayon, ang ginawa ng Meralco, dinampot niya yung provision na yun, sinabi niya sa ERC, Mr. ERC, since hindi ka nagbigay sa akin ng rules for setting distribution willing rates, which would have been my basis for a rate reset, since you did not do your job, I will do your job for you. And this is how you do your job. I-adapt mo yung annual na awat to cover the first 7 years, 2015 to 2022, ng fourth regulatory period, and we are going to call it the lapsed period. So, i-estimate lang, i-report lang namin kung magkano lahat ang nakolekta namin, i-report lang namin kung ano ang allowed expense namin without any annual revenue requirement details being given. So, dapat kasi kung mayroong annual revenue requirement, lahat ng itemized expenses, and these are itemized expenses in the rules that carry forward through the years and through the regulatory periods, Lahat yan, mayroon yan mga detalye. Yun yung mga detalye na wala. So, since walang ARR, ang ginawa ko when I intervened on the AWAT so-called true-up, sabi ko, if you want this to be a final resolution of what the rate should be, you should require Meralco to submit the historical records, data, documents that will justify every cost item as compliant with the Supreme Court decision. Anong sabi ng ERC? And this is classic ERC. Sabi ng ERC, oh, Mr. Hunya, this is not a rate reset. So you cannot ask for the data. This is an awat, which actually was an anomalous awat. Kaya sabi ko, kung hindi mo ibibigay yung data at hindi namin mabe-verify, wag niyong i-consider na ito yung maximum average price that will be applicable to the period. They still went ahead and went with the Meralco petition. That's why Mr. Pete Ilagan has taken the case to the Supreme Court. I have taken it to the Court of Appeals and si Commissioner Non to the Court of Appeals. We still have to hear from the courts what the decision is. But as far as that decision is concerned, that is not yet final because we have appealed it. And to the final point, Nick, in the dissenting opinion of Commissioner Maceda, dyan sa denial ng aming motion for reconsideration on that particular case, and that denial came out in January 2024, and we appealed it to the Court of Appeals in July 2024. I hope I'm not sub judice, but this is just factual background. Kine-question namin yung desisyon na yan ng ERC. Tapos, in the dissenting opinion ni Commissioner Maceda, that's where I read and I found out, when they verified the cost claimed by Meralco, ang ginamit nila yung uniform monthly filing requirement ng Meralco to validate the claims ng Meralco under their application. So, sabi ni Maceda, paano kayo nagkaroon ng proper or reasonable na verification? Ginamit nyo yung applicant Meralco's data, ginamit nyo yung report ng Meralco, who is also the applicant, to validate their own data. Paano ngayon yan? And then, they did not require Meralco to produce the documents. Ang masakit, the irony is, the reason that they did not allow my motion for documents is because it's not a rate reset. Kasi sa rate reset, I said kanina, rate reset lang tayo pwedeng mag-question. So sabi niya, hindi mo pwedeng questionin yan kasi hindi yan rate reset. But it was a bastardized application of the AWAT. Ito ngayong fifth regulatory period is, I emphasized kanina, it's a new fifth regulatory period. You know why it's new? It was actually applied in 2022-015 as a fifth regulatory period. In the process, due to the magnificent efficiency of the Energy Regulatory Commission, for about 12 months, the Energy Regulatory Commission could not issue the pre-trial order. Nag-pre-trial conference kami, hindi ma-issue ng ERC yung pre-trial order, hindi makaproceed yung case, nag-lapse ang another 2 years, nag-petition ngayon ng Meralco to withdraw its application and refile it. Initially, that petition to withdraw and refile, I objected to, it was denied by ERC. Lo and behold, in October last year, ERC reversed their denial, allowed Meralco to withdraw it, and then directed them to apply now a new fifth rate reset, and the 2 years between 2026 to 2024 to 2026 is now considered a new lapsed period in addition to the lapsed period that is now the subject of our appeal to the Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court. Ang ERC is, filing mistake and errors over mistakes and errors, much to the detriment of the consumers.
So if we could see from the different commissioners in ERC, even until now, even with the new ERC administration, they are still having these mistakes.
Yes, kasi mahirap. My basic position is this: before any before any ground is made moving forward as far as PBR is concerned, there should first be a proper rate reset with the application of an annual revenue requirement with all the supporting documents. As of right now, there is no maximum average price of Meralco that has been approved based on an annual revenue requirement that has been verified. The 135 now that is being charged by us to Meralco as the final distribution rate was actually adopted in 2015 when ERC could not issue its rate reset order and process, and Meralco applied for an interim average rate. The interim average rate is the smooth maximum average price approved in 2011. So the 2011 rate is the rate that is being applied now with some
Right.
adjustments lang.
Yeah. And that's the reason why for us as consumer groups, we have united during the Senate hearing on the franchise renewal of Meralco. Kasi ang sinasabi natin, sagutin sana muna ni Meralco lahat itong mga questions natin na mga to. Hindi naman natin sinasabi na wag natin i-approve ang renewal ng franchise ni Meralco, but Meralco needs to have that accountability and provide transparency. No, we need to see those records. We need to see if what we have been paying for how many years, yun nga ba yung tama na dapat bayaran ng consumers natin, no? And it's really sad, Butch, that they have approved the franchise of Meralco in the Senate without even asking for references, records, or even considering the fact that consumers have been paying for so long. No, yung we were paying blindly. Hindi natin alam kung ano yung binabayaran natin, pero nagbabayad pa rin tayo kasi wala naman tayong choice, wala naman tayong kuryente. Pag hindi tayo nagbayad,
Alam
puputulan
mo,
agad tayo.
Alam mo,
No?
Nick, ang masakit lang na nakakahiya as far as ERC is concerned. In all these public proceedings, magkatabi yung Meralco at ERC in the panel. Meralco shrugs its shoulders and say, we're just implementing what ERC has approved. You don't even hear a pip squeak from the ERC.
ERC.
Walang kasali-salita. Even in the plenary deliberation between Senator Hontiveros, who was the only senator who was vigorously opposing the Meralco franchise renewal, and Senator Villanueva, between the two of them, there was so much shaking of their heads saying na ang ERC is not doing its job and all that. But what does the shaking of their heads do to us?
Exactly.
Ang tingin ko kasi, Nick, there are many ways that we can bring the utility into line and hold them to their accountability for least cost supply. One is at the ERC. And I saw the Meralco franchise renewal as one of the venues and the opportunities for being able to put Meralco on the dock and hold them accountable for their overcharges. Unfortunately, that did not happen in both the House and the Senate. In the House, unfortunately, when proceedings started something around May, I got a letter from the committee in the House inviting me to the proceedings, but I was out of the country at the time. I was not able to attend, but still, I submitted to the House committee a position paper that I prepared for Freedom from Debt Coalition in 2015, calling for the revocation of the Meralco franchise at that time, because the issues that were raised in the FDC position paper are the same issues that should have been addressed by the House in considering the renewal of the Meralco franchise. Among them, the least cost supply obligation. The other one is the franchises. Meralco is given a franchise to conduct the business of distribution of electricity. But where is Meralco now? It even has a generation plant in Jurong Island, in Malaysia, in Singapore. So, and then the same section 1 of the Meralco franchise that was renewed says this is the territory of Meralco, and it enumerates the localities where it operates. It does not include Jurong Island in Singapore, where they have a power plant. So obviously there are many violations. There are even many other things that would have been good to look at in the deliberation of the Meralco franchise. For instance, um, I hope Meralco customers realize that as far as the records, billing, and collection of their bill is concerned, they are being charged as much as about 28 billion or 32 billion for that. But a lot of us, many of us still go to the Bayad Center. In fact, there is even talk of people paying extra as a convenience fee for
Convenience.
not having to go to
Sa mga
any
online.
branch or so parang online lang. So
Mhm.
it is really time that we do an honest to goodness, a drill down review of the 32 billion. Saan ba napupunta yan? If you look at the annual report of Meralco, they have many subsidiaries. Ang Bayad Center is subsidiary nila. So is the 32 billion being farmed out to their subsidiaries who are doing part of the services? And are there cost efficiencies as far as these are concerned? Di ba?
Yes.
Kasi kung subsidiary nila yan, maaari na medyo mas mataas ang presyo niyan compared sa mga ibang competitors niya, which could have been least cost for consumers sana. But anyway, we
Yes.
really cannot evaluate that at present unless we are given the records, unless we have data to evaluate it, and we hope that ERC could assert their position, no, na to have the balls to ask Meralco about the records. And it's really unfortunate that we had an opportunity to question Meralco during the franchise hearing. Unfortunately, Congress and Senate have approved it immediately without even thinking, no, of the impact sa consumers, kasi this is another 25 years. No, parang hindi ko alam kung anong nangyayari sa ating mga politiko, paurong yata, hindi, instead of us moving forward, you know.
Alam mo,
But anyway, sir,
alam mo, Nick,
question,
okay, go ahead.
anong reforms, what do you think are the reforms are needed to prevent Meralco and electric cooperatives, no? Meralco being a private utility distributor and electric cooperatives from passing on unfair cost to consumers. Anong yung kailangan natin? Ako kasi, sir, one of the solutions that I am really proposing is a stronger consumer participation in the ERC, no, to have consumer representation in the ERC. But looking at it with your experience, sir, what do you think are these reforms that we need right now, not 5 years from now, no, in order for us to protect consumers dito sa mga unfair cost or hidden charges na mga to?
Alam mo, tama talaga yung tumbok ng thinking mo on that. Kasi what is sorely lacking as far as we are concerned here in the Philippines, yung electricity consumers, we are on our own. Wala tayong support system, wala tayong protection, because actually the supposed regulator who's supposed to be our principal line of protection has failed us. Ang kailangan natin is a real and working consumer office that will protect us. Isipin mo naman how unfair and unjust it is. Lahat ng cost ng Meralco for every rate application nila under the regulatory liaison and compliance component is charged to us. And do you know that the regulatory liaison and compliance of Meralco for the third regulatory period was 2.2 billion pesos, 2.2 billion. Ang the next closest, which I think was Beco, was about 117 or 180 million pesos. So, kung kami sa Meralco, billion ng singil, sila ganun lang. And that regulatory liaison and compliance fund is for every rate application of Meralco. So, saan nila ginagamit yun? Isa yan sa items na hinahanapan natin ng detalye. Now, in my readings of the Canadian experience in implementing performance-based regulation, because they're also on PBR, I saw an Alberta, Canada decision where there is a regulatory, a consumer Utility Consumer Affairs Office, that
Yes,
is a
yes.
necessary part of the case, a necessary party, and which is funded out of the rates. Alam no, Nick, kami nagpupunta sa ARC, ang aming parking, ang aming notarial fee, ang aming printing, lahat out of
Yes, lahat.
pocket. Out of
Yes,
pocket.
yes.
Ang ERC, ang Meralco, under the ERC rules, they can hire the most expensive lawyers in the country, and it's cost to us.
Babayaran ng consumer yan. So, kada
Consumer,
kaso,
consumer lahat yan.
may tayo ang nagbabayad nun. Tayo na nga nagkaso, tayo pang magbabayad ng abogado nila.
Masyadong
Well,
ano,
sad to say.
masyadong unfair and masyadong walang sumisilip at tumitingin sa side ng consumers. Alam mo sa ngayon, unfortunately, even if under the rules, all the LGUs that are covered by the utilities are sent a notice of every application for rate. Kaya nga in fact, ang Meralco na let's say 32 pages ng application for the 2025-035, yung fifth regulatory period. Out of the more than 30 pages, 16 pages noon, listahan ng mga LGUs na covered ng franchise na binigyan nila ng kopya. Maniwala ka, pagdating sa hearing, not one of them is going to be there. Kaya ako natutuwa na ang ating kasama, si Pete Ilagan, sinulatan niya diretso lahat ng mga LGUs na yan to remind them that they got a copy of the application and for them to know that somebody is looking over their shoulder. Magi-election na rin lang naman eh. So those local officials who do not take seriously their obligation to look after our interest in power regulation and in our power rates, then we should vote them out of office.
Exactly, exactly. So with this midterm election, we hope really that consumers makapag-isip-isip tayo na ang ating iboto yung tipong politiko na meron talagang ginagawa para sa issue ng kuryente. Kasi ngayon, Butch, no, malapit ng eleksyon, so lahat na naman sumasawsaw sa issue ng kuryente. Lahat nagsasabi that we are for affordable and reliable energy. Yan, nagsisilabasan na naman lahat ng mga politiko na sinasabi nila that they would fight for affordable and reliable energy. They would fight for a lower cost for electricity rates. Pero pagkatapos ng eleksyon, wala rin lang. So they are merely paying lip service. And it happened already. It happened during the last election, previous 2-3 elections, and sa ngayon, sana itong ating mga consumers mag-isip-isip naman sila na tignan nila sino nga ba yung mga politiko na meron talagang nagawa pagdating dito sa issue ng kuryente o usapin ng energy sector. We do understand, tayo naman hindi natin kinakalaban si Meralco. Meralco is not our enemy. But what we are looking here is for the transparency. They need to be transparent and they need to show the records if they are really charging consumers the right price. Because yun, di ba, Butch?
Yeah, tama.
The reason na sila ay nagkakaroon ng refund kasi nagkamali sila ng projection. Nagkaroon ng over-projection, nakala ng mga tao pag may refund ng Meralco, parang utang na loob pa natin kay Meralco. It's the other way around. We were overcharged and that's the reason that they are paying a refund. Ang problema dyan, kapag walang nakakita ng kanilang na-overcharge, if nobody has seen it, that's the problem. So, ibig sabihin, they get away overcharging consumers, no? So anyway,
sabi nga ni Senator Hontiveros, we should overcome yung culture ng overcollect and then refund. Dahil between the overcollect and the refund, there's a lot that is lost. But alam mo, to talk about the politicians, I was really disheartened na sa Senate, isa lang ang nag-vote against, si Hontiveros lang. And in fact, in the December 5 na technical working group meeting presided by Senator Villanueva, in the course of our exchange on the least cost supply, si Villanueva was saying proudly or if I am not convinced that they that they complied with the least cost supply obligation. I will not sponsor this on the floor. Lo and behold, nandun si Villanueva, siya nag-sponsor. And then in their exchange, sabi pa niya kay Hontiveros sa interpellation, huwag natin naman kalimutan ang nagniningning na 40 billion refund. Oo nga, maningning yung 40 billion. But according to former commissioner noon, that should have been 160 billion. So magkano ang
Yes.
diferensya ng 160 and 40, Senator Villanueva? Medyo maglabas ka nga ng calculator at tingnan mo kung alin ang maningning.
Wait, yun.
Oh,
Yun nga, it's really sad na ganun nangyayari sa Senate. And kung nakita naman natin all the questions kay Senator Villanueva on how Meralco will do better, it's all promises. They just gave us promises that yes, they will do better. Yes, babawasan ang brownout. The service will be better. But how? We have, di ba?
alam mo, the franchise is a privilege. The franchise is a gift. That in itself is the price for providing reliable, reasonable electricity. That is not
Yeah.
an excuse or a basis for overcharging. Yun nga ang sabi ng Supreme Court decision in 2002, that just because the stockholders are not earning enough, you should not increase the rate for them to earn more. That was what Justice Puno said. And if you look at the fifth regulatory period application now ng Meralco, it fits the same pattern. Do you know that the return on capital, which is actually the source of the dividends that are paid to the investors, is even higher than the operating expense. Saan ka naman nakakita na ang dividendo mas mataas ang costas kaysa sa actual service, which is the OPEX? Tapos, titirahin tayo, tatamaan tayo ng 14.6% na weighted average cost of capital na yun ang ina-apply nila from the current 14.97%. Saan nanggaling yung capital? Saan i-apply yun? I-apply sa tinatawag na regulatory asset base. Ang regulatory asset base is built up from the capital expense that are charged to us to buy all the equipment of Meralco. So nabili ang equipment from our dime, and then Meralco is going to make 14.97% return on our dime.
Yeah.
Wala ba naman nag-iisip?
Yun din yung kinahanap natin. We just really wanted to see those records where our money is going. Kasi there are even news, may mga 'di ba sa GC ng Meralco consumers, marami pang nagsasabi that even yung Meralco basketball team and even their uniforms, Christmas party, their shoes are being paid by consumers. Well, like I said, we do not know unless that we could see those records. But unfortunately,
Alam mo,
no.
Nick, yung costs na yon that had been disallowed, those
Yes.
were initially disallowed in the Supreme Court decision in 2002, which led to the 30 billion Meralco refund. 2002 yun. In the 2019 decision of Justice Antonio Carpio on the ODRC being declared as anti-consumer, the same cost items excluded in 2002 were reiterated as non-recoverable cost. Yung basketball team, yung helipad, yung Meralco Theater, lahat yun in-enumerate ulit doon. But, you know, Energy Regulatory Commission is playing three blind mice. They don't see, they don't hear, they don't talk. So, if you have an ERC that is three blind mice, well, our goose is cooked.
Exactly. So really, sir, as much as we would like to continue more of this, pag talagang ang pinag-uusapan natin, kuryente, kulang na kulang ang oras at lalo-lalo na pag Meralco ang pinag-uusapan, ay naku, abutin nga tayo ng halos 3 taon o 4 na taon. Pero, Butch, what can you advise our consumers, those that are in the Meralco franchises, no? Anong advice mo para sa kanila? Anong pwede nilang gawin? And meron din tayong viewers from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao who are also under electric cooperatives. So how can they protect themselves as consumers?
Well, as individuals, I think initially you should push back and let your local officials, especially right now, let your elected officials feel that you are aware, that you know what they should be doing, and they should be made to realize that you know that they're not doing their job. I mean, you have as an individual to try to push back. As a group, siguro Nick will try to pursue the line that you opened a while ago. If we can have a consumer affairs office that will be a necessary party to all rate applications, that will be funded out of our rates kung kinakailangan, and that will be a necessary party in all of these cases. It is an office that can research, educate, advocate, and litigate. If we can
Yes.
cover all those areas, then even on the advocacy side, the elected officials will be made aware that they cannot just be doing things on their own. There's somebody who's going to be looking over their shoulder. And bottom line is, it's going to keep the ERC honest.
Yeah. So kung sakali no na hopefully that we could have another run with this and we could discuss further, but the franchise was already given to Meralco. We hope that yung final nyo sir would actually have a better result, and let's see what we can do further. Sir, kung
Oh,
sakali,
Nick,
on go
let me
ahead sir.
just let me just go quickly to that. As far as the franchise is concerned, we're trying to put together a veto to vet Meralco
Uh-huh.
franchise. It still goes to the president. Now, since it's the election season, let's make this an election issue na hindi yung pagsasamantalahan lang ng kung sino-sino yung mga tao. If we are going to mount an honest to goodness real campaign that will create awareness and educate and make people move in the right direction, I think one of those directions will be a veto to vet the Meralco franchise for the president to realize. In fact, even without the consumer office, if the president will only find the 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 heart for the consumers, he can create a presidential commission that can look into this, and then from there, set the direction for a support system and a network that will help the consumers.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Butch, for that. No, and sana nga na matuloy, no. Actually, yung Consumer Advocates Office, there's a bill that was filed by Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. Pero I think wala naman ng movement. It was filed, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was filed around 2017 or 2018, but until now, it's still a bill. Wala pa yata siya sa second reading. So we really hope that we could have a consumer affairs office. Well, if it's possible, not only in ERC but in all regulatory offices such as NEA. We also have the Department
The
of Energy, and
Sa
of
tubig,
course
sa
our
tubig.
ERC. No,
Yeah.
ayan. Ganun lang, kabilis ang oras, Butch. Ang dami natin na pag-usapan, no?
Pasensya ka na kasi
Yes.
once you trigger me as far as those issues are concerned, I have the tendency to go like, sorry about that.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, final words for our audience, Butch. This is Power Talks by Pare.
Well, I thank you, Power Talks, for giving us this platform and giving us this opportunity. It's an overwhelming challenge, but it's not really lost. And as far as yung timing is concerned, this is a good time to do something about it. This is going to be perfect timing. Let those who aspire to help us know that we know the kind of help that we expect from them.
All right. Thank you very much, Butch Cunha, our energy advocate. Okay, isa sa mga mentor ko rin dito sa Usaping Kuryente. Meralco's rate reset isn't just a technical process. It's a critical issue that affects every Filipino's electricity bill. Like natutunan natin kay Butch that while Meralco justified this adjustment with infrastructure upgrades and regulatory compliance, the real question remains: Are consumers truly benefiting? Or are we being forced to pay more for inefficiencies and corporate profits? No, naloloko na ba tayo? No? O tama lang ang singil sa atin? Since 2011, wala tayong rate reset. And as consumers, no, we would like to be informed. We demand transparency and we push for fair and just electricity rates. We do understand that Meralco is a business like any other businesses out there. They need to have profit. But we also need to have a balance between profit, service, and consumers. No? Now, looking at profit alone and not looking at consumers and service, that is not profit, but we can call that greed. And we hope that the fight for affordable and reliable energy for all starts with awareness and action. So if you want to stay updated on the latest energy issues and solutions, follow, like, and share Pare or Partners for Affordable and Reliable Energy on our social media. We are in Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you could also subscribe in our channel, Power Talks by Pare, in our YouTube. Yan. So, thank you very much. Until our next episode, I'll see you again. Bye. Thank you, Butch.
Thank you. Thank you.